morning here for me, and welcome back. This is episode 3 of my bathroom painting project. Right now it's just a lot of talking head crap because I don't have a whole lot of footage just yet on getting up into the bathroom, but I will be showing you the bathroom here very quickly. The progress that we made after day one, if you remember from our previous videos, I hope you had an opportunity to watch those. I mentioned that it was basically going to be a 4-step process in order to redo this bathroom. Number 1 was to assess the situation, figure out what's going on, repair the walls, prep the walls for paint, and then of course paint. Well, in order to assess the situation in the bathroom that we're repainting and remodeling, because they have that textured hard coat over the wallpaper, I have to remove that hard coat first. And that was the kind of like the pre-step before I could even assess the situation. So basically what the assessment came down to is a whole lot of scraping and getting that crap off the wall to figure out what's going on and to see what level everything is at. And basically what I'm trying to fill you in on is that throughout that process of going through that assessment, I found a whole list of issues with the bathroom that are going to need to be addressed. So basically what it comes down to is the weekend bathroom painting project that my wife was hoping to be completed on the cheap for under $300 has now turned into a full-on bathroom renovation. So follow along with us, stay with us as we work through this and go into the renovation and switch modes from that simple 4-step process to a much more detailed process. I'll give you a list of the things that I found as we went through removing the hard coat and everything. Basically, I wrote it all down here, so forgive me for reading it off a list, but found out that the shower valve was leaking. Basically the handle on the shower, we have Moen valves all throughout the house, and the shower handle, I don't know if it's the valve or the handle, but one of the two is not functioning correctly because when you turn the shower all the way off, it still drips. If you turn it just a little bit over, it stops dripping. So my guess is that valve in there underneath that handle is one of those types where if you put a pair of vise grips on it and you just start spinning it, it doesn't have a stopping point. It just keeps going from hot to cold to off to hot to cold to off, you know, that sort of thing. So it's either the valve will need to be replaced or I'm going to need to at minimum replace the handle. I also noticed that all of the hardware in the room, you know, like the little cover plates that make everything look decent, they're all mismatched. Some of them are, you know, corroded away. The chrome has come off of them, so those all look bad. Some of them are in stainless steel looking pewter. Some of them are in chrome. The faucet's in brushed stainless steel, so it's like there's nothing matching in there. Hinges on the door covered in paint. They're squeaky. They're old. So it looks like I'm going to need to replace all that. But so in addition to the leaking shower valve, the pipes are caked in paint, like all of the shower arm that comes out, caked in paint. The little vanity looking flange cover that covers up the hole in the wall behind the pipe, that thing is all rusted, corroded, covered in paint, looks nasty. One behind the toilet is all covered in paint, corroded, nasty. The one that's underneath the sink is corroded, rusted, covered in nasty. It all looks bad. The pipes look bad. Everything looks bad. The valves underneath the sink in the toilet, when you turn them off, they still leak. They still drip. So those are going to need to be replaced. The toilet, when we went to remove the toilet tank in order to get the textured wallpaper and textured hard coat off behind the tank, found out that the toilet tank was sitting on a bowl, but the bowl was actually cracked. And the previous owners decided that instead of repairing it or replacing the toilet, they would just try to fix it with basically packing tape. So the toilet is cracked, and where the crack happens, it's right where the tank meets the bowl. So one good shove on that tank, and basically you're gonna have yourself a leak. Fortunately, it's not happened to us yet. So the toilet's gonna need to be replaced. The vanity, when I went to remove the vanity in order to work on, correcting the walls behind the vanity, I pulled the vanity off the wall, and actually the corner that the vanity sits in, the two walls are not perfectly at 90 degrees. They're actually at about 92 or 93 degrees. So when you put the vanity up against the wall, even though the corner of the vanity is in the corner of the room, by the time you get to the end of the vanity, there's a gap about that big. And that's because the wall is not exactly at 90 degrees. I put my carpenter square up to it. Sure enough, there's just a couple of degrees off. And that happens because the house settles, or maybe it was built incorrectly, or just, a little bit off here and there. And it happens, it shifts over time, as the house settles. House is at least 25 years old, so we're going to have to address that, because when they took the vanity out, they actually, in order to get the vanity to be tight up against the wall, they cut into the drywall and shoved the vanity into the drywall. So I'll show you a picture of that. But that is a mess. So the vanity situation is going to have to be addressed. We're going to try to save that vanity and paint it, as I mentioned in the painting video. So hopefully that won't be another additional expense. The flange for the toilet is actually below the surface of the floor. And if you're familiar with how to install a toilet, you always want to make sure that flange is at least at floor level, if not just a little bit above. So I'll either need to be replacing the flange, which I don't want to do, or you can actually purchase an inexpensive spacer kit. I'll show you what that looks like. Add a spacer onto the flange so that you raise the flange level underneath the toilet to at least floor level, because that way that'll minimize any potential leaks in your toilet. So I'll be having to repair that. After I got the vanity in the toilet out, I noticed that the ceramic tile is cracked in multiple places. You'll also see a little picture of that. I'll throw up a little video when I go through the walk through the bathroom. But so we have some cracks in there. I also found out that they did not seal the grout correctly, so who knows how much water seeps through that grout into the subfloor below. Who knows if I'm going to need to pull out the subfloor and replace that. I don't know yet. We're going to need to get into that and find out. There's going to be more assessment based on that, get that out. Then, of course, I'm back where I was in the last video. I've got to prep the walls, get them all joint compound put on, get spackle put on, whatever I need to do, to get those walls smooth. Because remember what I said in the last video, I'm going to just, rehash it again. Your prep work is the key. Your prep work is going to determine the finished product of your paint job. So you have to make sure that your prep work is spot on. It is, you are on your A game with your prep work. So make sure you put extra time into that prep work, because that'll make your finished product look a lot better. So at that point, I'm going to have to do all that repair work with the behind the vanity. I also noticed that when we took the mirror off the wall, there were these spots behind the mirror that look as if it's like stippled black material, almost like an epoxy type material that's like hard as a rock. I don't know if they epoxied the mirror on the wall or what they did. This is done before our mirror went up. I couldn't see it because there was textured hard coat over the wall and over the defects. So once I got that hard coat off and I got that wallpaper off, I see these black, like stippled, mottled spots that I tried to take some sandpaper to, and they're, like I said, hard as a rock. So they're going to have to be ground down with a belt sander or something. I don't know how I'm going to get that off, but got to get that as smooth as I can before I skim it with joint compound. Then, of course, I took off the trim to look what's going on behind the trim, and found out that the trim is absolute junk. There's the trim is actually not wood. It's this compressed OSB paperboard, whatever you want to call it, and it absorbed water over time. It wasn't caulked properly. It's got water stains on it. It looks like garbage. It's chipped. It's chunks taken out of it. It looks like crap. So I'm going to be replacing that trim as well. So basically what that comes down to is this one weekend paint job is turning into a week-long or a 2-week-long full-on renovation that I'm going to take you through, show you the room and everything like that. But I just wanted to give you an update on what I found in the assessment. So the 4 steps that we had before, I'm going to give you an update on that. The 4 steps were only valid if you're going to be doing a paint job. All right. And right now it looks like we're going to be doing a full-on renovation. Everything in that room is going to be replaced except for the shower. I'm going to try to save that bathtub, clean it up the best I can, save the drywall, and my wife wants to save the vanity and paint that. So those are the 3 things that are staying in the room. Everything else is going to be redone and gutted and what have you. So that's where we're at right now. That 4-step process is out the window. So forget everything I said in that last video about those 4 steps. And I'm going to give you a list of, I got 21 things I'm going to do. I'm going to run through them real quick here. I know you don't have time for, sitting and listening to me gab all day. And I don't want to just be a talking head all the time. I want to actually show you the room. So these 21 steps basically are, some of them I've already completed. Number 1, get the room emptied out. Get everything out of that room that I can. Take off all the fixtures. Take off the light. Take off the toilet. Take off the sink. Get everything out of the room. Do an assessment on the room. That's step 2. That's what I've done. And then step 3 is start tearing out the tile just to see what's underneath it and see what kind of damage I have under there. So that's where I'm at this point. I'm at step 3. Step 4 will be to replace the subfloor if and only if necessary. I'll show you what that entails and whether or not I'm going to have to do that in a video. If I have to replace the subfloor, so be it. It's not that expensive. It's a couple bucks for a sheet of drywall or a sheet of plywood. Put like an 1/8 sheet of drywall or plywood down. Probably about 20-25 bucks for a 4x8 sheet. That's 32 square feet. 8x4 is 32 square feet. The bathroom floor is about 25 square feet, so one 4x8 sheet of 1/8-inch plywood should do just fine, if that's necessary. I'm going to have to also replace all those valves, clean up those pipes, take off that shower arm. All that's got to come off. That's step 6. Step 7, get that tub cleaned up the best I can. It looks as if they have years and years of silicone and paint and textured hard coat that's seeped over onto the edges of the tub. So it looks almost as if the walls are like eating the tub, and if you're going to be redoing a bathroom and having everything look pretty and nice and white, because my wife wants the walls in white, you don't want all that nasty tan textured hard coat, silicone, layers of silicone sitting on the edge of the tub. That's just going to be an eyesore. So I got to clean up the edge of that tub. That's step 8. Step 9 will be to repair all the damage in the walls. Do any drywall work I might need to do. I really hope I don't have to, but skim everything that I need to skim with the joint compound, and of course prime the walls. Step 10 will be to add new floor and trim. And you might be asking, why wouldn't I just paint the walls before I put the floor in and not have to worry about protecting the floors? Well, the reason why I don't want to do that is because our trim is going to be white. And if I paint the walls first and then put the trim on, I'm going to have to put on latex caulk in order to seal the seams up. And then once I put the caulk on, that's going to flash. It's going to come out. I told you what flashing was in the last video. You're going to see a sheen difference. And so you're going to have to touch up that caulk line anyway. So what's the point in painting if I'm going to have to paint over it and do another coat of paint anyway? So I'm going to put the floor and the trim back on. I have to really determine what the budget's going to be for this, honestly, because it's not going to be a $300 paint job anymore that my wife was hoping for. And now that we've gone through everything, she's hoping that it's still going to be under $500. And I, asked her to tell me what it was that she was smoking because I wanted some of it. Full-on renovation isn't going to run that, I don't think. But for me, I'm thinking I can hopefully keep it under 1,500 as long as I get the right materials, get them on sale. Use the little Menards 11% back kind of program, that kind of thing. So I'm hoping I'm going to keep it under 1,500 for materials. I'm not counting labor because I'm doing it all myself. So if I can keep this under 1,500, I'd like to. And it's not gonna fix everything. If I replace the bathtub, so on and so forth, you're talking another 1,000, 2,000 just to put in a new tub shell, and I don't want to do that. If we're gonna replace the tub, I'm gonna put something nicer in there anyway, like a walk-in shower with nice marble walls or something like that. But I'm really hoping I don't have to do that. But assuming I don't have to replace the drywall, assuming I don't have to replace the tub, and she wants to keep that vanity, I think we can keep it under 1,500. So that's where the budget will be for that. We're going to see whether or not I'm closer or she's closer. 500, 1,500. Leave a comment down below on what you think we're going to have for a ending cost for all this. But I'm guessing it's going to be closer to 15. So once I get that new floor and trim on, for flooring, we're going to be using a vinyl floor, because if I'm taking out that tile, I could replace it with tile, but my wife doesn't really want tile, and I'd like to have the ability to swap it out in a couple of years if we want to change it. So we'll go with a vinyl flooring system, like a rigid core vinyl flooring system, and that's pretty decent for a bathroom because it's essentially waterproof. You don't have to worry about water seeping in and causing the bubbling like it would on those old wood laminate floors. I don't know if you've ever seen those. If you have them in your house, you spill water on them because they're that compressed wood, glue wood kind of thing. If the water seeps in between them, causes the seams to bubble and bulge because the water makes the fake wood swell, and then once you have that happen, the floor looks like junk. But the new vinyl systems, vinyl doesn't absorb water that way, so you won't be contending with that issue. So we're going with that rigid core vinyl floor system. I'm going to be putting that in. After we do that on step 10, looks like 11, my wife wants to add brick to one of the walls. She wants to have more of like a downtown city type loft motif in the bathroom. Her bathroom, the way she wants it, that's what we're going to do. I can't go putting brick in there, actual brick, because that's a couple thousand pounds of stone and brick and mortar and everything else that I don't want to be adding to the second floor weight. And not to mention a brick is several inches thick, and it takes several inches off the bathroom. So the other option would be to either put in fascia brick and then mortar over that, which I could do. But in case she doesn't like the brick in 5 years, I don't want to have the hassle of having to tear all that off again and use a chisel and hammer to get all that off. So the third option, which is not only the cheapest but it's also the easiest to install, is to purchase a faux brick panel that they sell at your big box store, Home Depot, Menards, what have you. And it looks like brick. It's got the texture of brick. It's got the mortar in there and everything else, but it's actually just it's actually like a sheet of drywall, like a thin sheet, quarter-inch sheet of drywall that's got a stamp pattern in it, and the pattern is repeating. So when you put the two panels up side by side, you actually have a nice solid streamlined brick wall look. Only way you'll know it's not brick is if you walk up to it and touch it. So unless you're drunk and leaning up against the wall when you're going to the bathroom or something, you're not even going to feel the wall. You won't even know that it's not real. You might see the seam a little bit, but we're going to try to hide that the best we can. So I'm going to put that faux brick panel up for her on that one wall behind the toilet and the sink. Then after I put that wall up, I will be reinstalling the toilet, reinstalling the medicine cabinet with a brand new toilet. We're going to save that medicine cabinet because there's nothing really wrong with it. Reinstall the towel bars and hooks, and reinstall new plumbing fixtures. We're going to try to save the faucet, but we're changing out all of the lines and the valves, like I said, and all of the more aesthetic look to the tub, the handle, the little covers and things like that, so that everything has the same metal look to it, match the hinges in the door and door handle, that sort of thing. Then once we have all that in on step 19, I'll be adding in new light fixtures because the light fixture, when we went and looked at it, when we were pulling the drywall tapers mud off and scraping off that wallpaper, the light looks like it probably cost about $10 at Walmart or something. Who knows? It was the cheapest light I think they could possibly buy. It's plastic, it's discolored, it's old, it's covered in that tapers mud junk that they put on the wall. It looks like crap. So I'm taking that out completely because it's brown and not even decent looking. It looks horrible. So we're replacing that new electrical fixture as well, and I'll show you what we purchased for that. And also she wants a new light switch that has a dimmer because, just like anybody else, you get up after a long night's sleep and you're groggy and everything. You don't want that light blaring in your face, so you put a dimmer on your bathroom and turn that thing on dim when you first go in there. Or maybe it's the middle of the night and you got to go to the bathroom. You don't want to blare yourself with light and wake up, so put a little dimmer switch in there for her. She says that's what she's looking for. It doesn't take much at all to get that happening, but they are a little expensive. Probably about $30 for a decent dimmer, LED type dimmer, but that's all right. We're going to add that in there. Then once I finish up the electrical, the bathroom will be done at about that point. I'll do some cleanup and touch up. Once I put that trim back on and everything and put the vanity back in, I might be bumping the walls. I might need to do a little touch up. So that's where we're at. About a 21 step. Went from a 4-step process to about a 21-step process. But I'm going to take you along for that and show you some videos. So please stay tuned for that. And I really hope that you enjoy seeing how this bathroom turns out. Hey, I just wanted to take a minute and let you guys know that I really appreciate you following along on this project with us. I know it seems like there's just a lot of stuff going on here, but I'm just the type of person that likes to do things right, get it done right the first time, and then not have to worry about it again. So once again, I appreciate that you're watching, and I really hope that you follow along through the future videos and everything else that we're going to get done. And if you could, give me a little thumbs up down below if you like the content. Subscribe if you want to get some more information. And I really hope that this will encourage you to take the steps that you need to take in order to get your house looking exactly the way you want it to look. So y'all have a great day. God bless you, and take care, and I'll see you on the next video.